Thank you for staying with us. Time now for the news review right here on the AM show. And I'm joined by...
Mapitsa Sividi. Good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the AM News. Thank you so much. It's a Thursday, a lovely Thursday.
Yep.
And we are in our Navy.
Yeah. Are my eyes deceiving me, or is yours, is it a shade of navy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It actually looks a bit black.
Yeah, I know.
This is a very deep shade then.
Of Navy.
Yeah, but we're still rocking
Somewhat
it.
matching. Are you okay? You slept well?
Pardon me.
Did you sleep well?
As for the sleep, I've been doing more sleeping since I got back into town. I don't know.
Okay.
Looks like exhaustion, but when I got back, it was just a lot of funeral and meeting people and this and that. I've not really had some good rest. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it is what it is. Before we get into the papers and before we welcome Dr. Abu Sakara Foster, inflationary rates, it has hit 33.9%, up 2.2% from the 31.7% we saw in July. And we could also talk about Aisha Huang, who is going to be in custody for another 2 weeks. Interesting scenes. And yesterday, her colleague passed out.
Yeah, and people on social media were saying that Chinese with a Ghanaian mentality.
Chinese with a Ghanaian mentality.
Yeah, meaning that only Ghanaians will faint and do something so dramatic.
But I think over.
Over. Oh, you go over.
You go over. Man.
And they should deal with them.
They should deal with them.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what is really getting to me? The different spins on the story. Nkrabe Ifadate, Captain Retired, says his client, and Aisha was his client even back then.
Yeah.
His client did not sneak out of the country as the prosecution is alleging. He says she went through due process. In fact, he did not know. And then before he realized it, his client had been shipped out of the country, so to speak. Mr. President has said that he is not sure whether or not she was deported. The information minister has clarified that she was, in fact, whether deported or repatriated, and that we can trace the flight. It's just not certain whether she was escorted. Others say she snuck out of the country. So which story is the truth?
Yeah.
Because there must be one truth and some other people are lying. So who is telling the truth and who is not? Those are the questions on my mind. But anyway, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Let's see what the papers are saying, Benjamin. Would you like to start with the Daily Guide?
So I have the Daily Guide, Business Finder, Business and Financial Times, and the Daily Statesman. I'll start with the Daily Guide.
Sure.
It says, Nana opens Aplao Community Day School. There's also NPP exposes Mahama over salary claims and drama over Kandapar Airport search. And Galamsey Queen, others denied bail. One collapses. So let's get some details of those stories. Let's start with the one on page 3. A man who was here in the studio with me just, 2 days ago? So NPP exposes Mahama over salary claims, and the ruling New Patriotic Party has denounced as completely baseless ex-President John Dramani Mahama's latest allegations that the government does not take care of its expenses due him under Article 71 of the Constitution. Mr. Mahama alleged on Monday that he only receives his monthly pension, just like former President Kufuor, and pays his utility bills for his house and office, adding, quote, I live in my own accommodation, so the state does not pay me anything for accommodation. He also asserted, quote, they haven't given me an office. I rent an office in East Cantonments. I pay the rent myself. I pay for my own fuel. The state doesn't give me fuel. I pay my own domestic staff. I pay my own medical bills. I pay my own air tickets when I travel. I'm traveling tonight. That is Monday. And I bought the tickets for myself and for my wife. But the MPP has dismissed the allegations accusing former President Mahama of insincerity, inconsistency, and a lack of seriousness on his part, and noting that his conducts, quote, threaten our democracy, peace, and security. So yesterday I listened to Richard Ahiagba, communications director of the MPP, I think interacting on Newsnight with Evans Mensah, and he made some of these claims stating that they have the facts, but they are not going to put them out. But the fact remains that the comments of the former president are baseless. Will we get a rebuttal? Well, only time will tell. On that same page, Galamsey Queen, others denied bail. One collapses. Do we have Dr. Abu Sakara joining the conversation? All right. So an Accra Circuit Court yesterday turned down a motion for bail filed by lawyers for Huang Rixia, a.k.a. Aisha Huang, and 3 other Chinese nationals standing trial for engaging in illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, in the Ashanti region, and thus extending their remand in police custody. Aisha Huang, a Galamsey kingpin who was deported in December 2019 for a similar offense, was rearrested 2 weeks ago for crimes related to the sale and purchase of minerals without license, as well as illegal mining, which has become a menace in the country's mining application. Now, counsels for the accused persons took their turns to pray the court to grant them bail pending the trial, assuring the court that the accused persons would show up for trial when granted bail. It goes on and on. But you know why, Mapito? The court was not so keen on doing that. They established that she was a flight risk and that she had snuck out of the country before and could do it again, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, per what the prosecution had said, that in fact she had snuck out of the country at some point. That raises concerns. But the other side of the story is that one of her compatriots collapsed. I hear there is the claim that some of these are gardeners, so to speak, not involved in any galamsey, as Aisha Huang is, but who is to confirm that? That is the story. Anyway, let's just, in wrapping the conversation, so some entertainment news. Diana Asamoah sacked. And so management of Frimprints Music Production has sacked gospel musician Diana Asamoah from its label. Reports about the sack come up days after a video of the musician saying that the Otumfo, or say to the Asantehene, should take charge of the funeral of the late British monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, went viral. In a letter dated August 4, 2022, the production house, which is responsible for producing and marketing Diana's music since 2000, has said henceforth it has nothing to do with Diana Asamoah. Do you think it is on the back of her comments?
Her viral videos? I don't think so. I think they've had...
Because that would be curious.
It doesn't make sense because it's not affecting her music or her business in any way, you know. I think she saw a trend, she wanted to hop on it, and then she actually did go viral. Probably there's some underlying issues that they are not telling us about because they've been together for 22 years. They've been partners for 22 years. So to just sack her for that comment doesn't make sense.
Plus, she's free to say some of these things. I don't see what is fundamentally wrong with her. I mean, I've not listened to the whole thing, so maybe she said some things, just to be fair. Maybe she said some things that were unpalatable. But if what I'm seeing here is all that she said,
it doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
22 years down the drain because of just that comment? That you want the Asantehene to, take control of Queen Elizabeth's funeral? 22 years, really? So, yeah, I don't know how that's going to pan out. And now her Instagram page, her YouTube page, everything has been signed to that guy.
Wow.
Yeah. So right now...
He owns all of that? He owns the content, everything she does?
Yeah.
So I think that should be a wake-up for artists as well. You know, you followed the whole, what's his name? The 22-year-old or so who's been nominated for Black Sheriff. Yeah. You followed his saga with his former manager, so to speak.
Yeah.
And how I feel that there should be a balance. I feel some of our managers sometimes want to extort, want to take too much advantage of the clients, the artists they handle. And I feel, on the other hand, there are some artists that try to play smart with the managers. So it must be middle ground. But I don't see how you can... Look, the artists in other parts of the world, I don't see them signing up everything they have, like their social media presence, to the person managing them. I don't know.
I also think that the artists are not educated enough. Right, no offense to any artist there. I think they're not educated enough. So what happens is that, I see a contract, or I'll read it, this is my friend, he'll never do me wrong. You read it just like, you sign it, and then you're done, because I'm just trying to make music, you know. That's what a lot of people say, that, I'm just trying to make music, what else? Like, forget everything else, yeah? They don't read the fine prints. And that's why it's important when you're given a contract, you read the fine print, get a lawyer to make sure that everything is intact and it works in your favor. You know? So it's also about like the artist reading the fine print and making sure that, okay, what this manager is saying, what the contract is saying, it makes sense.
It's kind of like the updates on Android devices and Apple devices. You know, when there's an update like iOS 16 and all of that, agree, without reading the fine print. I think that it was some years back and someone pointed out, some stuff in the fine print that we're all signing up to.
We have agreed to it.
We've agreed. Oh,
it's okay.
Well, we're all on 16, so you're fun. I didn't read all of the fine print.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Just sometimes they're so lengthy, eh?
Yeah, I'm not going to read it. So I agree.
But you see, that's where the devil is, in the detail.
Then the devil will get Benjamin, will get Joseph, will get Alton, will get Fred, will get all of us.
In this house, all of those who have signed on to iOS 16, have you read?
Anyway. Highly doubt it.
So just to wrap, Sister Ifya in car crash, she says she's lucky because it could have been deadly. And Baba's Spirit's 1 week observance slated for September 24, I beg your pardon. But let me just run this by you. Pure water, that is sachet water, goes up to 50p, 50 pesos from Monday. And of course, we know some of the drivers' unions are looking for an increment of 30%.
Yeah.
How does that rub off on you?
How much was pure water before?
And they are doing this on September the 21st, Nkrumah's birthday.
I see. How much was pure water before it got to 50?
So it was, I think, 30 pesos, 30 pesos.
Oh,
and now it's going up to 50 pesos.
That's a lot, because now you're thinking, okay, average, you'd drink like 4. Someone would drink 4. So that's what, 50, that's like 2 CDs. An average, a market woman or a car park attendant, do they have that extra 2 CDs to just pay for water?
Yeah.
And
if people don't drink enough water, the health consequences of that.
You see.
Some people may start, rationing their consumption of water, which is also not good for the health of people, which could also lead to a very unhealthy population, which could have an impact on our health system, which could have an impact on our finances as a country. You see how it trickles
all of
down?
this, yeah. And now the GPRTU is also increasing their fare. So it's like, okay, now 2 CDs for water, okay?
Mapito, and I was shocked. The last time I spoke to someone asking about a short distance, and they told me it was like 8 CDs. I was horrified. I've not used, one of these days, I'm going to experiment. I'll dress down and sit in a
Have you ever been in a trotro?
Trotro?
Yeah.
Hey, do you know how long I was doing Trotsky?
I see.
Hey, Mapito CBD.
I don't believe you.
You have no idea.
I don't believe you. You don't have to dress down. Go like that.
No.
Why are you dressing down?
If I go like this, people will, look at me
but
as
this is
being
you.
too shepherd.
No, but this is you.
No, but I also dress down. This is for the studio. This is for work. I don't dress like this all the time.
But this is you.
I would do some African print or a T-shirt and go sit there and take a ride.
All right. Okay.
Let's check out some other papers.
Enjoy the Trotsky. Why? Let's go to the Ghanaian Times. Are you a football fan?
Big one.
Do you go to the stadium?
Stadium there in Ghana, chuck it, relax.
I'm
not so much of a fan.
Oh.
You remember, some of the things that I'm not trying to dissuade anyone, but personally, I don't do places with too many, people in there. And we have shown.
Okay.
Ghana Police Service and others have shown that when it comes to crowd control and certain things,
yeah.
I'm just saying I'm not so confident.
Okay.
I don't do stadiums.
All right. So talking about stadiums and stadia, Black Star Square left to decay is a question. Urgent steps needed to restore facility. Also on page 17, Aisha Huang was repatriated. The Ghana Immigration Service confirms. Page 10 is the sachet water goes up 50 Ghana pesos and bottled water from 3 Ghana cedis from September 19. I want to read a bit of the page 16 where Black Star Square left to decay. Before I even read it, I think, I don't want to say Africans per se, but like what I've noticed in Ghana, that a lot of our nations, not museums, what's the word, Benjamin? Monuments.
Monuments.
Yeah, our
okay.
monuments, right, are left to decay and are left to rot, right? We have a terrible, terrible habit of not taking care of our monuments,
It's almost a culture.
It's almost a culture.
It's more like a culture, culture of non-maintenance.
Non-maintenance. But let's see what it's saying. So, as a result, the integrity of the facility has been compromised, making the 8 stands a death traps for attendees of the many national programs that are held there. When the Ghanaian Times visited the 30,000 seating capacity square, also known as the Independence Square, over the last 1 week, it observed cracks in the concrete slabs, which serve as seats with corroded rods in the beams caused by the breeze from the sea from 200 meters south of the facility. All right, so the last time I went to the stadium was a year ago to watch a hockey game. Was it a hockey
was
game?
it
Yeah.
hockey?
Yeah.
Was it the Atta Mills one? You know, the one behind the
one
what's the name of the
close
Tema Station?
in Accra. I don't know where the Tema Station is.
Yeah.
Like in Accra, close to Makola. Do you know that stadium?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't
I know
know
the
what it's
place.
called.
That's the same place I'm referencing.
Yeah. So that place. And the seats were terrible.
Oh, wow.
The toilet facilities were like in an atrocious state.
Wow.
And now Charlie,
Nothing to write home about.
nothing to write home about. And now you have international visitors, because it was South Africa versus Ghana.
Because I remember, I think there was an African event or so that took place there. There are some very important events that have taken place there.
So now the facility also serves as home for the homeless, not only man, but birds with their droppings littered over the place, their nests hanging in between pillars as they chirped in and out of the place. The stairs were all littered with waste from previous activities, which has not been cleared. So I think when people organize sports events, they tend to forget about the post-production or the post-match, post-whatever it is. You don't get people to clean up after your mess, which is a common thing in Ghana, because if you go to the market and you're walking there, it's terrible. Like, it's just terrible. So Black Star Square left to decay. Who is to blame? The authorities, the patrons, the organizers of the events? Who is to blame for the Black Star Square left to decay? Aisha Huang was repatriated. That is according to the Ghana Immigration Service. And they give details of her flight. So according to the Ghana Immigration Service migration card number ED16/611261, it gave her gender as female with her local telephone number. So further evidence showed that the flight details to read WCC RBX 2018-12 also indicated that she indeed boarded the flight from the Kotoka International Airport with her seat occupied until her arrival in Ghana. So that's what the Ghana Immigration Service is saying. The Ministry of Information therefore wishes to state that businesswoman, as per her occupation, Aisha Huang, indeed was repatriated back to her home country after her permit to stay in Ghana was revoked. So that's what the Ghana Immigration Service is saying. A lot of things are surrounding this Aisha Huang saga, and also on page 10, which we already discussed, sachet water goes up to 50 pesos. Which is a sad thing.
No, it's a very sad thing.
Yeah.
On a more serious note.
Yeah, no, it is. It's terrible.
I mean, how long ago were we purchasing, sachets of pure water for 10 pesos and 20? It went to 20 pesos, and now it's what, 50?
Because even when I was buying bottled water, when I came back to Ghana, and then I gave the lady 1 CD for like the small bottle, and then she's like, "Oh no, it's like 1 CD 50 pesos."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, but how?"
Yeah.
Like,
some of those that used to be 2 CDs are now 2 CDs 50 pesos.
50, yeah.
Those some still remain 2 CDs.
So it also depends on the brand. Yeah.
But this is becoming something, quite something. Are you done with that paper?
I'm done with that paper, but on the back page, Africa needs a new farming system, and that's according to the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Afriye-Akoto, who has called on scientists to develop new technologies and knowledge to help produce food and fiber in a sustainable way that aligns with the new climate realities. And the sooner we, like you said, we're discussing yesterday, that climate change is soon becoming a threat. In fact, it's not even soon, it is a threat. So we need to change, we need to adapt our, like the minister saying, our farming systems, we need to adapt our way of living. But if also it's getting hotter and water or sachet water is like 50 pesos, things are just going to be difficult. So Charlie, it won't be easy. The rapture
it won't be easy. I'm trying to get the name. It just skips my mind. But, there's this video in circulation as well, right before I get into the Find It newspaper, about this foreigner, I think he's Lebanese or something like that, who got arrested because he was using a siren.
Oh, and the
and
president of the office sticker.
The sticker, he doesn't have an insurance sticker. He doesn't have, a roadworthiness sticker, but he has a sticker saying Office of the President. And he was asked after having been accosted by the police officers, he was asked, you don't have any of these stickers. You don't have anything to show your insurance. And on top of that, you're using sirens. It's only the Ghana Police Service, the army, ambulances, and others who can use this, but you don't qualify. And he agrees, but he doesn't have it. But what I found curious was that he had the sticker that said Office of the President. And that is interesting. So we must find out how he got that sticker, who gave him that sticker, and what gave him that audacity. You see, we often complain about some foreigners, and I have nothing to do against foreigners. I have Lebanese friends, Indian friends, Nigerian friends, South African friends. But they can't come here and do here things that we cannot go to their countries and do.
Yeah, but
can you imagine that?
Okay, so on behalf of the foreigners, whose fault is it that your systems
Please,
are
you are
not
not a
working?
foreigner. You don't qualify.
But I'm asking.
You are prior honeho.
So you won't go to what? To London and misbehave. Why won't you go there? Because the laws are in place. The laws are enforced. Do you get it?
Right.
It's also another thing that if the laws are enforced, then there won't be any room for the foreigners or the citizens to misbehave.
It's crazy. I mean, I thought, yes, he's been accosted and everything, and then I saw the sticker and I was scandalized, actually. However, whichever means he used to get that must be found out, and whoever, gave him that should be dealt with. Business Finder, Ghana deserves more from minerals. Time for new framework is now. Dr. Steve Manchea pictured there, co-chairman of the Gaiety, and Samuel Abu Jinapo is Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. Lack of relevant skills is a setback to solving unemployment challenge. That's according to the YEA boss. Cyber attacks, 4,000 Ghanaians saved. Let's take a quick look at those stories, starting with page 2. So Ghana deserves more from minerals. And the co-chairman of the Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Manchea, has reiterated the call for a comprehensive framework to manage the country's mineral resources as has been developed for the petroleum sector. Dr. Manchea said, though gold, a mineral resource, had the same volatility effect on the budget as that of petroleum, the country had still not taken the initiative to develop a framework that would help manage the effect. But does it make any sense to you, Mapito? We've been mining gold for centuries. Now, the imperialist forces came and took away what they did, just as they did in India, for a long period. But look at what India, post-colonialism, has done. They are an economic juggernaut. I've forgotten, but when you look at the top 10 economies in the world, you would find India there. It's a technological hub. It's a health hub. There are people from the United States and others from the West who go there for health. But look at us and the resources we have and what we've done with them. It saddens me, Mapito. It saddens me. Ghana, small as we are, and the resources we have, yet we've... Anyway, I get
worked up.
Worked up, yes, when I get into some of these stories. But let me wrap with the story on page 4 that says... So interestingly, on page 4, we have the inflationary rates, we have prices of packaged water, but lack of relevant skills setback to solving unemployment challenge. And the CEO of the Youth Employment Agency, Kofi Ajapong, has said the absence of relevant skills will continue to create high rates of unemployment in the country despite the availability of vacancies for employment. He therefore emphasized the need to change the patterns of, quote, our investments into well-enhanced skills that will stay with our youth forever. While I agree with him, Mapito, I also vehemently disagree with him.
Tell me.
If you have a deficit when it comes to accounting, for example, what do? You ensure as a country that you're pushing more people into those spheres. If it's engineering, you ensure as a country that you're doing that. There are no mechanisms for doing that. It's a hodgepodge situation here and there, and everybody is left to choose. That's not what happens in other jurisdictions. We should be able to know, for example, that in a year, we're going to produce X number of accountants, X number of engineers, X number of whatever, this and that will feed into industry. Without that, we can't sit and make these claims about people are not targeting the right skill sets. Who is guiding them? That's the question. Those are some stories in the Business Finder newspaper.
All right, let's go to the Chronicle, and everything is about Galamsey. Confusion over Aisha Huang's deportation. The police, she sneaked out. The Ghana Immigration Service, she was repatriated. And this one is from Osei Chairman Sabontu, who says some chiefs are benefiting from Galamsey. And Aisha Huang can influence big wigs, and that's according to a judge.
Some chiefs are benefiting from
Galamsey.
Is that supposed to be news? Is that supposed to be news? I repeat, is that supposed to be news? Politicians are in it. From both sides. Chiefs are in it. Yes, I said it. There are commoners in it. Even religious people, some of them are in it. So, I mean, what are we talking about? Well, if we want to deal with it, we can. We just won't. You remember yesterday when I was engaging Adib Sani? You mentioned that. Let's make it a treasonable offense. Treason. It means you're an enemy of the state. If you're accosted, you're treated as such and you're dealt with. If we start dealing with people the way we ought to, people would think twice. But guess what? The political powers are embedded in it, hands and feet. So all their tentacles are in it. How will they... How do you fight yourself? How's divided?
How do you fight yourself? Well, the Member of Parliament for Swame in the Ashanti Regional State, Chairman Sabonsu, says, though chiefs may not be the ones who gave out the lands to the miners, they enjoyed the proceeds of the activities as the operators often paid homage to them. Okay, so that is what he's saying, which makes the fight even more difficult if the chiefs are involved. How, like you said, how do we fight against each other now? You know, because this chief has probably helped you some way, somehow in your political campaign. How do you go back now that you're in power and say that, oh, Charlie, this thing that you're doing, you have to stop, otherwise we'll arrest you or we'll do something.
I'm sorry for my words, but that is the stupidity of our system. Because no country develops when personal interest is paramount over collective interest. And so we ought to have leaders who would put the interest of our country and generations unborn first. But what are we doing? We're putting personal interest first. And so till now, look, all of those we've been speaking to in recent times, when you ask them, whether it's Professor Ening, whether it's Adib Sani, whether it's Mukhtar Mumuni Mukhtar, whether it's the CSOs, they keep saying that the fight against corruption is being lost because the will to fight it is not there. It must start from government. It doesn't rest with government alone. The communities must support. You see something, you say something. But you see something and go and say something. Next thing you know, your name has been given out and you're being chased by people who will do anything. Yeah. So these are the problems. But it must start from government. Government must do something. Not enough, from where I sit, has been done. And the problem will continue. It's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Yeah. All right, let me give you my last story. Remember when Sarkodie said, Ghanaians, if you are a presenter or a DJ and you haven't got international, right? So Baba Sadiq has responded that media has created jobs for empty pundits who have achieved nothing, right? So the founder of 3 Music Awards is the third person to share his thoughts on the debate after Sarkodie and Shatawale took their turn. So Baba Sadiq blamed the media for creating jobs for pundits who are only known for attention-grabbing headlines and nothing else, yeah? He added that pundits cannot have the right to just sit and talk about artists when they have achieved nothing for themselves all these years. Baba Sadiq said if pundits are not adding anything to showbiz and are not building themselves, they have no business talking about others, which I totally agree. Because you get some of these pundits who'll be on our radios, our televisions, and they'll just be spewing, I beg your pardon, nonsense, right? And ridiculous things, all in the name of punditry, which doesn't make sense. So you as a person, what have you achieved? You know, what, like you were saying the last time that, okay, some decide that they just want to be experts in certain things. But for you to be an expert in certain things, your track record needs to speak for yourself. So you're here on Hits FM, you're talking a whole lot of, excuse me once again, rubbish, but you have nothing to show. Just because you have decided that I'm a pundit, I'm an entertainment pundit, and I can say whatever I want to say. And my opinion is because I'm an entertainment pundit.
So on that score, I disagree with you and I agree with you. Okay. I agree with you on the score that people shouldn't just use punditry as a cloak so that they can just spew, you know, invectives, insults upon people anyhow, just because they claim they are pundits. Yeah. Yes. The ethics of what they do. Many of these people don't observe that. I understand. But when it comes down to it, Mapito CBD, what is punditry? One of my dictionaries here says, A pundit is, the first definition, an expert in a particular field, especially as called upon to provide comment or opinion in the media. Another, a synonym is a commentator. In other words, these are commentators. These are people who are knowledgeable about the field, who share their thoughts. There are wine connoisseurs. They never produce wine, do they? Who calls them out for being connoisseurs without producing wine? So I feel that is where the problem is. Yes. A pundit is expected merely to be someone who knows a lot about a certain constituency, a certain area, and shares his or her thoughts about it. I don't see how that becomes a problem. But Mapito, let's quickly bring in leader of the National Interest Movement, Dr. Abu Sakara Foster. Doc, a very good morning to you, sir. Do we have Dr. Sakara with us? Hello, Dr. Sakara, a very good morning to you.
Dr.
Hello,
Abu Sakara.
All right, we'll try to get him as and when it's possible. I just want us to get his take on maybe the inflationary rate and prices going up for everything. The BNFT says indigenous companies still operating at periphery of oil and gas industry, our own oil and gas industry, and our own players are operating on the very fringes. There's also cost of power. High interest rates will make industries uncompetitive for AFTA. Then Talo hopes to conclude Capricorn merger before year end. And consumer inflation up again, hits 33.9% in August. Other stories?
Other stories from the Daily Graphic. New housing programs begins. 12,000 units for Greater Accra and Ashanti regions. The Ministry of Works and Housing is rolling out a national revised affordable housing program to provide an initial 12,000 housing units at Pokwase near Accra and Dedesua in the Ashanti region. So it's dubbed Mifie, to it, my house. Yeah, my house. Right. Affordable, I don't know. Affordable according to who? Because
affordable housing in this country has never been affordable.
Has never been affordable. Yeah. It's like one of my biggest frustration. You say it's affordable, but affordable to who?
I took this video in the Netherlands. They have so many affordable housing units, and these are skyscrapers. Another thing, we waste land in this country, but these are skyscrapers, and you get slots in there, and it's actually affordable. Here, affordable housing is for the wealthy, and the same politicians building it are the same ones who capture it,
making it even less affordable. Let's see. Also, Aisha Huang denied bail. Another accused collapses in the courtroom. And the last story is Access Bank Graphic Business SME Clinic benefits 6,500 enterprises, 3,000 supported to digitalize. Those are the stories from Daily Graphic.
All right, let's take a look at the Daily Statesman, my final newspaper. Insincere Mahama under fire, and insincere in quotes, over his, quote, unholy politics on Article 71 perks. I do agree, though, that there should be a second look at our Article 71 provisions in our Constitution. Some people are just milking the country dry. And all of these people being packed onto, and the office of the president, and the office of the vice president, and the certain administrations, all falling under Article 71 makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. Police in conflict with immigration over Aisha's exit, public urge to be cybersecurity conscious, and YEA boss, we know what he's been saying, commits to skills training among the youth. There's also on page 5, parental irresponsibility, cause of streetism and moral degeneration. All right.
That's an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah.
Very interesting conversation.
Streetism and its linkage to improper parenting or a lack of parenting.
Yeah. A lot of people these days are just having kids to have kids, and it's terrible, and it's reflected.
But can you even call a child unplanned?
I mean, when you were doing the thing, actually,
you know the consequences of jiggy jiggy.
Yeah, you know that. Why were you expecting a television? Were you expecting a cell phone to come out?
Maybe they were expecting sachet water. Even that will cost 50 pesos now.
You see. All right. That's it for our newspaper review. Up next is sports.